To all members. Does everyone have the Raskin Amendment? Does everyone have it?
She's not going to read
Okay. The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment to the amendment in the nature of a substitute as offered by Mr. Raskin of Maryland.
Without objection. The amendment is considered as read. I reserve a point of order. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized for 5 minutes to explain his amendment.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman. Since we haven't read the amendment, I'm just going to work through the basic terms of it. Resolved that the initial deadline for Hunter Biden to comply with the subpoena issued on November 8th was December 13th, 2023. Resolved that current members of Congress and 3 members of this committee have refused to comply with subpoenas duly issued under the authority of the United States House of Representatives, including Mr. Biggs of Arizona, Mr. Jordan of Ohio, and Mr. Perry of Pennsylvania. Resolved that the aforementioned members of Congress have firsthand knowledge and information related to the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol and on this body and on the Vice President of the United States that is of critical importance for the American people and the work of this committee. That the deadline for Hunter Biden to comply with the November 8th subpoena be changed to the date upon which the aforementioned members of Congress supply their knowledge and information to the Committee on Oversight and Accountability. In other words, Hunter Biden has until the date upon which our own members comply with the subpoenas that were issued in the last Congress that have still not been supplied, and that the aforementioned members of Congress shall be ineligible to vote on matters pertaining to contempt of Congress considered by this committee until the date upon which the aforementioned members of Congress supply this knowledge and information to the Committee on Oversight and Accountability. In other words, you should not be standing in judgment on contempt of other people who allegedly have violated their subpoenas when you have violated a subpoena and have not complied with the orders of the U.S. House of Representatives. I would also like to raise a problem that struck me as I was looking through the paperwork on this, Mr. Chairman, which is that the subpoena that was sent to Mr. Biden, which came around a week before, or a couple months before, it was issued on November 8th, 2023, was issued before the House of Representatives had voted on impeachment. I remember there were numerous Republican members who were very hesitant about voting for it because of the testimony of the majority's own witnesses who said there was nothing closely approximating a quantum of evidence that would justify impeachment. And so there had been no vote on it, you'll recall. And on November 8th, the subpoena was issued. The subpoena date for appearance was on December
Mr. Gosar has a point of order.
Yeah, we're not talking about impeachment. We're talking about impeachment inquiry. We need to be very considerate about that.
Well, exactly right. And that goes right to the point of this question I have. Thank you, Mr. Gosar. The subpoena was issued on November 8th for a subpoena date of appearance on December 13th. And that was the same date when, you'll recall, we were called to the House, and then there was a vote on impeachment. So the underlying subpoena here is at least arguably invalid for the purposes of holding him in contempt of not complying with the subpoena related to impeachment. And I wonder if we could clear that up. But in any event, I would press the amendment. Certainly those members who have outstanding subpoenas from the U.S. House of Representatives who blew off the subpoenas should turn over what they know about the violent attack on the U.S. Capitol, the worst domestic political violence designed to overthrow an election in American history at the Capitol. And they should turn that over. And at that point, then yes, I will. We will yield in 1 second. And then Mr. Biden should also be forced to comply at that point. In the meantime, those members really should not be voting on contempt motions related to other witnesses. And somebody had a question.
I did. You yield?
Yes.
Are you sure that everybody up there actually received a subpoena? I mean, your board says certain people received a subpoena. And in my experience, some of those people up there did not receive a subpoena, and so notified counsel for your bogus J6 committee.
Well, First of all, every court in the land has rejected the claim there was anything bogus about it. As you know, the courts rejected the idea that it was somehow
Was it heard before every court in the
unconstitutionally- every court that heard it, do you have any authority on your side for that outrageous proposition? I know you'd like to believe it, but your fantasies are not the law of the United States.
I have great fantasies.
I'm certain you do.
but
You
let
and
me
Ms.
just tell
Green
you
might
this,
want to
one-
discuss them
Yeah,
together.
but
Okay.
you haven't answered the question. You don't know if those people actually even received the subpoena, and yet you
again-
put it on the board, and you're going forward and trying
reclaiming
to
my
hold
time.
people in
Reclaiming
contempt.
my time. I served for more than a year on the bipartisan January 6th Select Committee to investigate the attack. You might not like Liz Cheney anymore, who was head of your conference, but it was bipartisan, my friends. And so was Adam Kinzinger, who served his country well. But in any event, nobody ever claimed that they hadn't gotten the subpoena. And
Go back and check the records,
Well, if
sir.
that's the argument, have them come forward and explain that. I would like them to testify under oath that they never received it.
Gentleman's
Thank
time's
you, Mr. Chairman.
expired. Chair recognizes Mr. Palmer from Alabama. Chair recognizes Mr. Palmer.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we immediately dispense with the amendment for lack of germaneness.
Okay. I am prepared to rule the amendment is not germane to the bill, therefore the amendment is not in order.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to appeal the ruling of the chair. It's clearly germane. It goes right to the heart of what we're doing here today.
Okay. The motion to appeal